Journey started when I was very young, and I'm lucky in that it happened to me young because I loved films, like I'm sure you do. I love films. I love them, love them, love them. And when I was a little kid, I always watched television with my dad mostly, not so much my mom, but my dad and my older siblings. And I love television, but I love movies that were on television, and I love going to the films. And I went with my older brother, I went with my dad, went with friends, and I always noticed the names of either before the films or after. And I think that was kind of a telltale sign. So my journey began that I noticed that people worked on films and it said things like costume, makeup, editing, and I would wonder what those things were. And that started my imagination and research, if you will. Um, and as I got a little bit older, when I was in high school, I was very lucky and very fortunate to be in a school that actually had some drama and performance art. And suddenly, kids did acting and music, and I don't know, I was a kind of odd, eccentric kid. And Mr. Turnbull, who was a very cranky
Yeah.
teacher, but a very good teacher, said, "You need to do this." And suddenly, I read a book, Richard Corson's The Art of Makeup, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So, but I mean, those were the challenges you have faced when talked about like you were gonna, you will be going into the film industry. So, what are the challenges did you face?
Well, I think the challenges were probably like many people. I had no family in the industry.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody. So the challenges would be, I think, like anybody, if you don't know anybody or you have no connection to it, it was how do you get the information? You know, the
Yeah.
guidance counselor at school, poor old Miss Borden, she didn't know anything. Um, they didn't know what are they going to tell you to do. So there were many challenges, and also I think, like most kids, no matter where you live in the world, um, I grew up in Canada. No connection. Oh, there we are. Um, I think even back then, late 70s, early 80s, people thought, what kind of job is that? It was not
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. It was a hobby. And I think that was the challenge, how to take it seriously. I went to my dad and I thought I'd like to maybe be a costume designer, maybe a makeup. And my father was like, what? Actually, my dad was pretty good about it because his family were remotely interested in show business, maybe. Um, but yeah, those were challenges because people think you go to school, you finish high school, then you go to university or college and you study
Yeah.
a subject like art history or design, or even if you were to do design, it would be a very academic one. So
Yeah.
those were our challenges.
Okay. So, first of all, I really, I mean, you just got a nomination in Academy Award. So it was, I mean, it was huge thing. So what was your reaction when you got that information?
It was incredible. I mean, it was an incredible. What can I say? It was incredible because it was, you know, maybe it was taking a long time to happen. Maybe some people thought, why now?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. I was delighted and honored and deeply honored. Um, yeah, it was incredible. I was working on another film when I found out. I was in the middle of doing touch-ups on Jake Gyllenhaal on a Guy Ritchie film. I was in the middle of Spain on the mountains somewhere near, I can't remember, Alicante, Spain, on a mountainside doing a wound on his head with blood. And Jake was listening to his phone. We were doing a close up, and the first person who
Yeah.
called to congratulate me on FaceTime was Mark Wahlberg to congratulate me. It was a very incredible moment in my life.
Yeah.
Um, so it was incredible.
So, how was your I mean on-set experience on Dune? Because I'm asking this because for Dune, there was the source materials were there. I mean, there was a book as well as there were like there was a film by David Lynch. So I mean, the source materials were there, but still, Denis Villeneuve, he really wanted to do something in a big canvas, something new, something fresh. So what was your, take on that?
Well, I mean, I'm there for Denis Villeneuve. I mean, he's wanted to make this film since he was a kid. So for me, more than anything, was to be there to help him make his film. I mean,
Yeah,
the greatest thing you can do, I think, in this industry is to be part of a realization for another person, another artist who wants to make something, and you're there to help them make it is kind of incredible. It's like, I don't know, it was incredible for me to be part of the experience of Dune, Denis Villeneuve's Dune. There was David
yeah,
Lynch's Dune. There's other, but for me, it was very special because I've made, other films with Denis, and I love him, and he's a friend, and he's an incredible person to work with. He has an
yeah,
unbelievable eye for cinema, for the magic of it, and respectful of the collaboration and the process of what we all do.
yeah. So you also did work on Moon Knight. Which was, I really loved that show, and it was incredible. So, and I also did a live interaction session with the producer and the writer, as well as Peter Cameron. So, he was telling me the on-set experiences, and it was incredible. And so I'm asking you, how was your experience on the set of Moon Knight?
It was a very nice experience. It was very pleasant, different. It's very different from Dune. Obviously, you go from streaming television to a huge feature, vice versa. We finished Dune. I had been on another
Yeah,
project. Moon Knight was a new experience for me. The Marvel universe was new for me. It was a very pleasant, creatively very. It was different. It was fine. I had a good time. I loved working with Mohammed Diab. And
yeah.
Benson and Moorhead, I had a very positive experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was your take on the makeup? Like, I've seen the Leila's makeup, like she was the golden scarab. So did you go through the comic book references, or you just?
I do, to be honest with you. I mean, I take everything with a grain of salt. If I take a reference of Scarlet, I looked at the comics. I looked at the same with Oscar Isaac. I mean, but I'm very grounded and based in reality, the kind of work I do.
Yeah,
So of course I looked at Moon Knight, the comic books, and they're fantastic. But I also look at what I relate to. So I looked at things like David Cronenberg's Spider with Ray
yeah,
Fiennes. I looked at Roman Polanski in The Tenant. I looked at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I get my own inspiration of ideas for subtle makeup changes and makeup and hair
yeah,
and prosthetics. And that's what I did.
yeah. So like, as you have said, like, there was people who were asking, like, when you think about the past, how do you see this career decision? When you go back to the past, did you ever think that this day would come to you?
Well, yes and no. I mean, when you're a kid, when I started very young, did I think I would last? I thought there were days I would be fired. When I worked on The Fly when I was 21 years old for David
Yeah,
Cronenberg, I was the assistant makeup for Chris Walas and Stefan Dupuy and Margaret Becerra. I thought I'd be fired. I probably should have been fired. Sacked, as they say in the UK. I never thought I'd be almost 60 years old and I'd still be working in this, doing what I do.
yeah,
Never, 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 never. But I made it. I survived. I think what's important to tell everybody, anybody who's made their life in this business, anybody, whether you do props or sound or makeup or editing or craft
yeah.
service or transportation, anybody who survives in this business, to me, for more than 20 years is a superstar.
Incredible.
Anybody. It doesn't matter what they do, actors, makeup artists, hairdressers, costumers, designers, anybody. Because it's hard. It takes endurance and tenacity acting. You have to really love
Yeah,
it. You can't not love it. You can't. You can't.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Steve Jobs also said so. Like whatever you just whatever just do what you love. That's the thing.
You have to
So
do what you love, but I think it's what you're saying is true. But I think moreover, it's very important to say to people that are starting out that are very young, because I like to work with young people and new people. You have to be
yeah,
good. Like if in the meantime you're trying to become an actor or a writer or a makeup artist or a sound mixer, whatever your inspiration or your aspiration is, be friggin' good at whatever you're doing. So if you're working behind a counter somewhere, don't be a jerk. Be good at it. Because
yeah,
if you're good at that, my friend, the late great, my best friend in the world was the late great Miss Shirley Jean Douglas. And she always said that to me. She was an actress and an activist from Canada via London, via Los Angeles. And she died. She was 88 years old. She died 2 years ago. And she said to me, for heaven's sakes, if you can't do the job properly, frying eggs or sandwiches at your job at McDonald's or in a coffee shop, and you won't do it properly, you won't be good at anything. And she was so
yeah,
right. Because if you take
yeah,
pride in it and you do that, you will accomplish it. And I always believe what she told me. When she told me that story in 1987, when I met her on a film with Christopher
yeah.
Plummer and Shirley Douglas and a number of other people, she told me that story, and I've always remembered it.
So the thing is, I mean, you have done the makeup of Dune. So on that case, how was the process? I mean, you do the prosthetics, like, so how was the process? I mean, how much time it takes?
Well, I mean, I don't do everything. I have everything's about the team. The team are
Yeah,
everything. So the
yeah,
team on Dune were a lot of people, that work with me, for me, but they work with me. It's a group. And
yeah,
so, it's like going to war, right? It's an army. It's Denise the general, and I'm like a captain.
yeah,
And I run all of the makeup and the hair and the prosthetics, but then a group of people come in and work with me, inspired, and we design and come up with ideas. And Lube Larson and Ava Von Bar and Joanne McNeil and Rocky Faulkner and all these different people come on. And Rocky does great bald caps, and Joanne does great tattoos, and Lube builds the fat suit for Stellan, and everybody does something, and we collaborate together and as a team, and we all
yeah,
do. And Cheryl did the hair, and blah blah blah, and we all working together and working with me. Uh, and that's it. So some of the makeups took, when Stellan is not wearing his clothes in the bath, it took 6.5 hours to do in a
yeah,
full fat suit with 8 or 9 prosthetic silicone pieces, and then a full fat suit. And then Dave Batista, we did him in an hour and a half. And then who else? David the Small Chin took 2.5 hours. And then Rebecca Ferguson took an hour. Timmy Chalamet, an hour. Every job is different. Every performance is different. Every look is different.
yeah, yeah. I mean, in Moon Knight, there was, I think, the character, the Steven, and the character itself, he has three different personalities. So I mean, what was your process, like three different personalities? I mean, acting is a thing, but in terms of makeup, what was your process behind, I mean, those three different characters?
I mean, I think with Stephen Mark, Jake, not so much, because we barely touched on it. I think that's,
Yeah,
I mean, we really barely touched on. He put a cap on, if I'm not mistaken, really, and I didn't really know enough of that, because it's a,
yeah,
what do they call it? It's a hint. It's a taste. Mark and Stephen, I was fascinated with, because I liked them both. I felt like I kind of liked, excuse me, I kind of liked Stephen more on some levels, because as a
yeah,
character, I thought was very interesting. The subtlety, the nuance of the makeup for me, what was very important to explain to people was that it's the same person. It's
yeah,
multiple layers. But of course, as you know, it's the same person. And some people have a broader understanding of makeup, or they need a bigger range. I like subtlety and nuance. Is that
Yeah,
it's the same guy, so he can't be one way coming out of a room, Stephen, and then in the mirror, brilliant cinematography,
yeah,
brilliant costume, makeup, hair, the marriage of all these crafts and the twinning, visual effects, Sean Faden's visual effects, the costuming. We doubled him. We used Oscar's brother over the shoulder, getting shots of the hair had to be perfect. I had to have wigs that were perfect so that you could see the side profile here. It was a perfect
yeah,
Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac's the perfect actor, the perfect gentleman, a nice guy, but also the perfect actor. Ethan Hawke, May Kalamaui, everybody great, and we all working together, smooth, perfect. It's harmonious, and that's what you do. Stephen, sweaty, sickly, a little bit like I called it the jet lag look.
yeah,
He doesn't sleep. He has problems sleeping, insomniac. Mark, stronger, tougher, more macho,
yeah.
Stephen, a little funny,
Little funny. Yeah,
but yeah, a little off. And I think that's what was nice, but a sweaty, always kind of sweaty and sticky.
yeah,
And I love that. And that I took from like Ray Fiennes and Spider and things like that. So I love that uh, feel of a character that the audience kind of
yeah,
go. But then somebody would say to me, well, why couldn't he be like so? But I'm like, it's Jekyll and Hyde. Remember Robert Louis Stevenson? Jekyll and Hyde are not talking. It's two separate people. Many years ago, I worked on a film that I loved called Voices. It was about a character who was kind of schizophrenic with multiple uh, personality disorder. And the producer
yeah,
wanted him to be like one way, like unshaved, like he had a beard or something. And I went, but it's the same guy on the
yeah.
same day. How would this,
Exactly.
what is that? So I think it's plausible that he could have this sweaty, like you can be in the same day, you can feel nauseous and be sickly
Yeah,
looking. But I really was careful. You can change your hair this way, but you can't suddenly have a new hairstyle.
yeah,
And I think that's the mistake people make when they have a multiple personality. Do you know what I mean? You can't suddenly be, oh my God, now you got like this whole new look.
exactly. So, the next thing I want to ask, that is, what would be your advice to the younger generation, to the people who want to pursue the career on the makeup department in film industry?
Well, look, I think I love it. I think there's other departments I think other people should also
Yeah,
explore, not just makeup. I feel like sound and music, editing, makeup, hair, costume. I think makeup is special because it's tactile. It's tactile, but it's also intimate. It's not for everybody. It's a certain type of person. Not everyone is cut out for it. It's like not everybody, like sound
yeah,
is a quality. You have to have a quality about editing, a quality,
what?
makeup, a quality, it's tactile, it's visual, costume. So I think when you feel that, you have a visual sense, you have a tactile sense, you want to touch people, you have a calming effect. You have to have a calming effect.
Yeah,
Then I think it's good. Other people are not meant. I've met people. I'm like, why are they doing this? They should be doing that. Um, Sometimes you meet people like that and go, why are you being like this department? You really would be way better as a script
yeah.
supervisor.
So yeah, I mean, like, as you have said, there are some the factors like the comic book, whether it's a comic book movie, whether it's an indie project. I mean, what is your process on that? Like, do you go to any particular way? Like, okay, there's a question, one of my friend is asking, do you independently decide how a particular character should look in a particular scene in a film? I mean, does a makeup artist have that kind of freedom?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, not every film. Um, each job is different. You can work on a film that you have a lot of freedom. I felt personally, Moon Knight, I had a great deal of freedom. actually,
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe. People are surprised to hear that. With a wonderful showrunner, Grant Curtis. But I think when
Yeah.
you work with a wonderful actor like Oscar Isaac, you have a great deal of freedom because he wants to hear your feedback. He wants to know
Yeah.
what you think. Um, there are other films that are very limited because either budget or time or whatever. Sometimes an actor has very specific ideas of what they want, or a director. There are some
Yeah.
directors that just want makeup, they're not interested. There's directors who go, you know what, I don't rely on makeup, it's not my vibe. I mean, that's my expression. It's not my vibe.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I'm not interested. That's fair. If that's your film is your film. If you're a producer, writer, director, and you say to me, Donald, I'm not interested in doing, I don't want a makeup artist on the film. Fine, don't have one. Except when you
Yeah.
need one, you're like, damn, excuse my French for saying that. But when you say, darn it, I need someone. I need a I need a black eye. I need a bruise. I need a blood. How do we make his hair look funny? How do we make her look old? Then you need a makeup artist. Well, tough
Yeah.
luck, sucker. Tough luck. Um, you undersold yourself. Some people are a little quick to say, I don't need makeup.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? They don't need makeup till they need makeup. They always say that on certain films because it's easy. I don't need this until you need it. And I think that's a very interesting thing about
Yeah.
filmmaking is that everything is necessary when you need it.
Exactly. So, what are the best? Who are the best directors you have worked with?
Well, I mean, it's a difficult question because I've worked with some very good ones. I'm very lucky to say, I've worked with Damien Chazelle and Sam Mendes and, oh my God, of course, Denis Villeneuve. But, Denis is my fifth film with him now.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty special relationship, and I love him, and I really do. Um, but over the years, I've been very lucky. When I think back in television, even Lindsay Anderson, I mean, people no one's even remembers, or if I said their names, they'd go, "Who?" Michael Apted. I mean, but people also don't have film history anymore. Michael
Yeah.
Apted. I mean, come on, Coal Miner's Daughter and Seven Up the documentary, Michael Apted. And sometimes I meet people and go, are you working in the film business? Have you looked those people up? Michael Apted. Sam Mendes, pretty incredible. Damien
Yeah.
Chazelle, he's only made a couple of films, but I did First Man with
Yeah.
him. I had the great privilege and good fortune of working with Martin Scorsese on The
Yeah.
Departed. I worked with Tim Burton. I worked with, my God, I worked with some amazing directors. Curtis Hanson on 8 Mile. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've worked with some pretty good ones. Some pretty good ones.
Okay. So, any project that you really want to be a part of it?
Well, I like a lot of the streaming that's out there. Sometimes I look at some films and go, wow, I'd love to work on that. I'd love to go to India and work. I would love to. I would love to go to India. I'm waiting for
Always.
an invitation to like an Indian film festival where I can actually get maybe brought to India and put up for and do like a panel or education film seminars. I would love to go to a couple of cities in India. Asia in general. I like to work with young filmmakers, new filmmakers. Um,
Like me.
there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Love it. I love it because I think everyone learns from everybody else, and I think working with
Yeah.
the next generation and coming is for me is very exciting because that's how it works. I was once up and coming.
Yeah.
Damien Chazelle, once upon a time,
Yeah.
once upon a time, all of these people are up and coming as we look back.
Yeah.
I remember seeing movies way, way, way back, like Salam Bombay was up and coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
That movie, when that came out, Water, Deepa Mehta's film was up and coming 30
Yeah.
years ago, you know? Um, so I'm very inspired by that. And I think there's a lot of films that
Yeah.
I'm really looking around. When East is East came out in the United
Yeah.
Kingdom, remember when it came out, I was like, wow, that was an impressive film.
Yeah.
So I think, especially co-productions, maybe even though I live in Los Angeles, I think when co-productions came out between Canada, I think Canada, the United Kingdom, a lot of Commonwealth countries, especially I think with India, um,
Yeah,
Canada, the UK, I think there was a something very interesting about the types of films that were being made at the time. Um, so that's yeah, that's it.
yeah. I think there was a film called Fan. I mean, great Greg Canham did the prosthetic on that film, which is
Oh
called
yeah,
Fan.
yeah,
Yeah,
in India, right?
yeah, in India. Yeah,
I
the
remember
role
that.
has been played by Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, SRK.
Excuse
So
me. Yes, I remember that. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So I am. What did you watch? Do you watch any Indian films? I mean,
Well,
you have
I do. I
mentioned so many
do
films.
because I watch a lot of the international films. But going back, I mean, when I think of things like, I mean, certainly going back to Salam Bombay,
Yeah,
and you know, even back to like, even though they were made in North America, like Mississippi Masala, but I know a lot of the films, Water, a lot of the
yeah,
films. Um, Things that were made. I mean, Deepa Mehta, people who made the transition in both countries, who had worked in India, who had
yeah,
worked, you know what I mean, who had careers in the United Kingdom,
yeah,
um, in India. So I've seen a number of them. I wouldn't say, you know, to me, Slumdog Millionaire was not an Indian film. Is that a fair
yeah,
thing
yeah,
to say? I mean, do you know what I mean? It was an
yeah,
interpretation of it, you know. So yeah, I think I had a good sense of it. Om
yeah,
Puri, people like that. I knew, you know, I knew a sense of it and a strong, a strong connection, especially I think in television and film, again in the UK and Canada. I mean, there was a DP in Canada I worked with years ago called Vic Sarin.
yeah.
Um, so you had a strong sense of that in different countries. I think a little bit in Australia as well, with things like Lion.
Yeah. So whether you're making a movie in India or not, but you always welcome. Please, it's my invitation from me. I mean, like, come to India, and and whenever you visit India, just call me and let me know. I will pick you up.
I would love it. Where are you? Which city?
I'm from Kolkata,
From
which is
Calcutta.
Calcutta. Yeah, yeah,
I would love to go Calcutta, Mumbai. I want to go to all of it. I
yeah,
worked, you know, when I worked with M. Night Shyamalan, because he had still a close
yeah,
connection, you know,
yeah.
India. So yeah, I would love. Okay, so you're in Calcutta. I would love to go. No, I would love it. Yeah, I would love to go.
Yeah. Even I think recently Christopher Nolan also shot the film Tenet in India in Mumbai.
In
You
Mumbai,
know,
okay, I would love to go
yeah,
there. I would love
yeah.
that. Uh huh.
So you always welcome. Just whenever you take a mile, I mean, you think that you were gonna go, you have to visit India because there are so many beautiful places like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar. I mean, so many temples are there. So like, you can always welcome and visit India.
Okay, I would
So
love it.
yeah. So I think there's my film friend, one of my friends. He wants to ask something, so I'm gonna
Of
add
course.
him. Yeah.
Hello, Suvik.
Hey, hey Donald, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Firstly, I'd like to let you know that I'm also an independent filmmaker, a budding filmmaker from Kolkata. It's a great privilege to, having the scope to speak to such a person like you, whose work has been very much inspiring. Like, I watched Moon Knight lately, and you know what? Firstly, as a normal audience, people don't really bother very much about the things that go on in the background. That is a harsh truth about filmmaking. But as
Of course.
we do the works, me, Junaid, we do the post production and pre production parts mainly in our films. We do the supervisations. So, the question which I had in my mind, Junaid actually asked you a few minutes ago, that the character Mark, who had a multiple personality disorder. The actor, he really did a great job, Oscar Isaac. But what I want to know that how did the makeup team work? Like, what was the thought process of the makeup team, and especially you? That how would you distinguish the characters? Like us, the same guy is playing all the roles, no? Mark, Steven, and the last one I don't really remember his name
Great.
clearly because
Mhm.
that was, yeah. That was just a glimpse. So would you mind elaborating?
So Mark is, I mean, we touched on it briefly. Mark is a stronger character. He's healthier. He appears healthier. He's neater. He's tidier. He ends up
Yeah.
bloody and everything because you're not sure what's happened when he turns up with all the blood in his hand and on his face. Uh,
Hmm.
the real reveals come in the episode 5, Asylum, which is one of my favorites because he has a
Hmm.
distinctly, he looks like he's really something's happened. He's on like morphine.
Yes.
He's got a swollen. His mouth is drooling. He's got cotton in his mouth. He's swollen. He looks very fixated. Very catatonic.
Hmm.
Stephen always looked a little bit like he's jet lagged, sleep deprived, dark circles, red. He's
Yeah,
just nervous,
Exhausted of.
twitchy,
Yeah.
yeah, he's kind of
very sweaty,
insomniac.
always very
Yeah,
sweaty, insomniac, sweaty. But it has to be subtle enough that you know it's the same guy. It's still Oscar Isaac and Stephen, whereas Mark, you see him in the mirror. And then occasionally they merge, like twinning. And that's what
yeah,
I call twinning, which I borrowed
Hmm.
from David Cronenberg, Dead Ringers, where Jeremy Irons is twinning. He plays twins. So I use that as Oscar as an example where his own brother, Mikey Hernandez, who is his brother, his biological brother, feeds him the lines. He's an acting double for him. And we put a wig on him and a prosthetic nose. So over the shoulder, you see the tip of his nose, and you catch him in profile so that Oscar can be getting the lines from him. And
yeah,
Mike reads Mark, and then we reverse, we change the hair and makeup, and we do it all over again.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Also, another thing I would like to ask that there are some scenes where we see Mark and Steven like in the same frame. So, as a filmmaker, I know how do the cinematographer or the screenwriter they handle the things separately. But as a makeup artist, what was your challenge? Like, if the shooting
Well,
was
that,
being done in the same day.
yeah, well, that's what we did. We changed him over. So we had two cinematographers, did amazing. I mean, Greg Middleton. I mean, they did an amazing.
yeah,
Robert, they did an amazing costume. All of us had worked very closely together to make sure that when we did those days where it was the mirror shots, when he's looking in the mirror in the bathroom, when it starts to
yeah,
shift. Then we have it's
Mhm.
choreographed really beautifully. The camera turns. We had a wonderful camera operator. We had a great crew, grip, electric, excellence, script. Everybody really understanding the moves have to be very good. Our visual effects, Sean Faden, the best in the
yeah,
business, because it had to be the best. And that's what happened. And then you put the photo doubles, stunt doubles. We had guys from
yeah,
France. We had a guy from the UK doubling Oscar Isaac plus his brother. So we would have a Mark double, a Stephen double with the
yeah,
corresponding hair, corresponding makeup. Uh, so
Mhm.
everything was tight, and the costumes perfect. Costumes,
yeah,
a Moon Knight and a Mr. Knight.
Okay. So another thing I wanted to ask that as we know you specifically for some kind of a genre, though you have worked in so many projects, but we mainly know you for this supernatural thing that goes on. So, which was the most challenging work you have done till date in all the things you have worked on from the first day itself?
Oh, from everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, every project has its own challenges. Everything. I would say
Absolutely. Yeah.
going way back, like to when I started, when I was much younger. When you're inexperienced, everything's more difficult because I think sometimes when you're young and you have anxiety and nervousness and you're unsure of
Yeah,
yourself, which we all can be, you're always can be unsure of yourself. When I very first started in the 80s, my first big job as a head of department makeup was a
Okay.
TV show called Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. And it's now kind of
Oh.
a cult thing on television.
yeah,
I was very unsure of myself, but I wasn't. I knew when I made the right decision, but sometimes people would question me, and I was very, you have to have a lot of
yeah,
faith in yourself. And as I got older, there would be a couple of jobs that go, no, and then when I worked on 8 Mile for Curtis Hanson with Eminem, was an incredible, very difficult experience for me. But I loved Eminem. I loved the film, but it was a very difficult experience. What else was difficult? I've had a couple of films were very difficult for a number of reasons, and then Prisoners, Denis Villeneuve, my
yeah,
first film with him, Skyfall, Craig, a lot of
absolutely.
a lot of
Yeah,
difficult.
I also add something that is, you have been associated with Daniel Craig. So how was your experience on working with Daniel
He's a
Craig?
wonderful, lovely guy. I mean, he's one of my favorite people in the entire world.
Yeah,
He's a lovely man. He's a lovely, lovely, lovely person. Um, he's funny. He's just a great guy. Um, Makes a good cup of coffee. He's a very, he's a very nice person. He's well
yeah,
brought up. He's got a nice family. He's just a nice person. I think we share lots of similarities.
yeah,
Um, I think we share a lot of common things. I mean, he's from Liverpool. My mom and dad are from the UK. My mom's from up in Scotland. I think we share a lot of similar
yeah,
things about good behavior, maybe about, I think just people, the way just normal people, he's just raised very normal, average, very average. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Nothing spectacular, not rich, not poor, um, with values. I mean, I think values about how you treat people and how you talk to people, and very polite. It's very
yeah,
important. Very important. He's very nice to
Yeah, very
people.
much.
And for me, it matters. And I think it matters to most people, right? We all care how other people are treated. Um, so I had a great relationship. We still have a friendly, we talk and we stay
yeah,
in touch. He's on Broadway right now doing Macbeth. So we stay in touch. And that's really lovely. We've made maybe 7 films together.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask another thing that might be a little weird, but I think you would find the question interesting. That while working as a makeup artist, you are one of the very few person in the set who have seen the actors very closely, and also while being the shooting going on, you are always there and you know how the things work. So, have you ever thought of being on the director's chair? So, are there any expectations?
You know what? You're the first person to ever ask me that.
Okay.
Wow, you're the first person to ever ask me that. That's so interesting.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Do you know what? That's a very interesting. Well, good for. I've never. That's a very interesting question. Uh, well, do you know what? I don't think so because I think it's hard enough what I do. Good Lord,
Yeah,
I can't
very
imagine
much.
the hardest job in the entire world, directing a film. You're in
yeah,
charge of everybody. I think directing a film, every other department can sort of blame everybody else. The director can't blame it.
yeah,
He or she has to take all the blame. I can blame the
exactly.
director. I can say it's their fault. Um, it's a very interesting question. I don't know how. I think I'm maybe too visual. I don't know if I would really get into the story enough. Or you have to also, I think, you're both filmmakers. You know what I mean. I think you have to do what you're good at doing. I think you serve the
That's it.
story
Yeah.
best. I think that sometimes people, you know, that thing is like actors who want to direct and you go, are you sure? It's like writers who do that. Sometimes that's a very bad idea.
Yeah,
It's too literal. I don't know about that, but I think it's very interesting. I sometimes know what I think it should, I know what things should look like. Here's what I think.
Mhm.
This is what I do think. If I wouldn't be a makeup artist or a designer, do you know what I think I would be better at? Casting.
yeah,
I think I would be better at casting director than a director.
Okay, yeah,
I think
can
because of
understand.
the way I deal with the look of people, I sometimes think, wow, casting would be and because I often in my head imagine who would be the best person for that.
yeah.
That's obvious, yeah. So, has it ever happened that while you have already been associated with a project that hasn't done the casting yet, and you have suggested any actor, and that was finalized?
It's happened, not often, but it has happened. You know, the politics of casting is very interesting to me. But it has
Oh.
happened a couple of times. I've thought, oh, that would be really interesting. That would be a great person for that. And I've mentioned it a couple of times, but you know, it's a very fine line because I think sometimes you have to be
Mhm.
careful with that because it's the same
Exactly
thing
that,
as,
yeah.
well, everybody says, oh, I could recommend a makeup artist. I could say,
No.
oh, I know so. And then you go, wait a second. Um, because everybody recommends someone and you kind of go, okay, now. And there are times that people recommend people and you go, but what makes you an expert on that? Do you know what I mean? Actors will recommend people to me and go,
Hmm.
yeah, but you're an actor. Like you have a particular aspect of the business you know, but you don't actually really understand the 95% of what I have to deal with. It's not just about
Yeah,
you, the way you look. It's the stunt double, the photo doubles, the background, the budget, how to order the contact lenses, the wigs. What are you going to do?
yeah. Okay, so I would like to do a rapid fire session. It would be fun. So let's do it. The first thing, describe the person with one word. Okay, Daniel Craig.
Impeccable,
Okay, Danny Villeneuve.
enlightened,
Okay, Steven Spielberg.
the maestro.
Actually, he is my favorite filmmaker. I was a huge admirer of him. Growing up watching his movies, like whether it's E.T., whether it's Jurassic Park. So I'm a huge admirer of Spielberg
Of
as well
course.
as Denis Villeneuve and such a great filmmakers like Terrence Malick. Uh, you know,
Terrence
so
Malick. I mean, Badlands. Yes, of course. I mean, genius.
yeah, and also Andrei Tarkovsky.
I don't know. I don't have an experience.
Okay. So I would like to do another session that is called like I will pick one person, and you have to be like what kind of makeup you want to put on your on that on his face, on their face. Okay. So I'd like to do so it's a fun thing. The first thing is obviously Daniel Craig.
Well, I don't even know what to say because I've made them up so many hundreds of times. So it's just, I mean, for me, I can't even answer that because I know, I mean, to be
Yeah,
honest, he doesn't need anything. He needs nothing unless we're doing a part,
yeah,
unless we're working on the part 007 or Cowboys and Aliens. He doesn't need anything. He's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
He's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Tom Holland.
He's kind of perfect. I mean, look, to be honest with you, most people need nothing. It's only when
Yeah,
you're making the movie that you have to
yeah,
then create something. I really believe that. I mean,
yeah. Of course. I mean, I really want to ask that thing. That is, I mean, how? What is the tough thing? I mean, doing the makeup for a realistic approach. I mean, the natural feeling. I mean, whether you're doing an indie film or whether you're a studio film,
well,
like he said, the things like the supernatural stuffs. I mean, what is
well,
really
for
tough?
me, this is what I believe. Most men look better, in my personal opinion, looking rough on a film.
Yeah, yeah,
Sweat, blood, tears, dirt. It's more interesting. It enhances them. It enhances a performance. Looking pretty is easy. Looking good.
yeah,
Nice camera work, nice lighting, bit of makeup, circles, get rid of the spots, a nice
yeah,
shade, clean it all up. Yeah, easy peasy. But it's not. Looking good is not as easy as people think.
yeah,
So a lot of people who do beautiful, clean, gorgeous makeup don't get the respect they deserve. That's
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. And a lot of people don't get the respect they deserve. And then doing amazing character work, dark circles and chapped lips and cuts and bruises and beat up. Yes, it takes skill. Yes, I get it. We do it. Beat up and bam, bam. Yeah, it
yeah,
takes skill. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have understanding of lighting and camera. But that's great. And a lot of actors look better that way. Women, same thing. You do beautiful makeup, elegant, beautiful, clean. No makeup look is more difficult than like mascara, lipstick, and everything. Because most women know what they look good in. They can do their lipstick and their eye makeup.
yeah,
But doing a
Yeah.
makeup that looks like a woman just looks beautiful and younger and fresher takes a lot of skill. Aging makeup takes a lot of skill. To make someone
yeah,
look 20 years older is more difficult than a prosthetic makeup to look 40 years older. It takes a
yeah.
very, very talented, skilled eye. So that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you feel ever like, do you get frustrated when things are not going right on set?
Well, everybody does. I mean, I think it's, of course, but things usually go right, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for coming here. We're running out of time, but
Okay.
having you and talking to you, like it was an incredible experience. And
My pleasure.
thanks a lot, and always welcome to India whenever you think that.
Yeah,
Guys, it's my
please do
pleasure.
visit India whenever you
Yeah, yeah,
can.
I would love to. So here's the thing. This is what you need to do for me as my favor
yeah,
to me. I need to be invited by a couple of the film festivals in India.
yeah,
And
Okay.
a couple of film festivals, make me a guest, have a special guest for, I don't
yeah,
know, could be from BAFTA, from the Academy.
yeah,
I'm not fancy. I don't need first class. Business class is okay. Nice hotel. I'll come for
yeah,
4 or 5 days, come to India. I'd love to do 2 or 3 cities. I would love it. I'd come as a speaker, college students. I'll sing for my supper. I'll come and speak to a film school,
yeah.
directors, writers, makeup artists, designers, a couple of events, some Indian food because I love it. Um,
What are the Indian foods
You
you
don't
really
need
love?
to
oh, I
really
love
worry about that. Yeah, we like
tandoor
to feed
food.
our guests.
I love it. I love it all. So I would come easily for 4 or 5 days. I'd go Calcutta, Mumbai, Delhi. Yeah, maybe do 3 cities. I'd come. A couple of film
Delhi.
festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hook it
we
up.
will do, we'll do an hashtag session. We'll call invite Donald. Okay.
Air
Yes.
India, maybe Air India, maybe
Yeah,
co-production India film. There must be Film India
yeah,
something. You
yeah.
guys are great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It was a
Oh,
pleasure
wonderful.
talking to you.
Yeah,
See
wish
you
you
very
all.
soon.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you
See you. Yeah.
so much.
Thanks.
And your listeners, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hey,
বলো।
কেমন মজা